you do things. You're good at doing things, and then you're told that you're great. You're really good at doing the things you're doing. But somewhere underneath all of it, there's just like this gnawing feeling that you're wasting your time. Nobody ever asked you what you wanted. They just told you what you're capable of, and you listened to them because you're capable of so much, baby. See, I know this because I was the same. I walked away from a 6-figure consulting job at the age of 25 because I felt all of that. And I knew that there's no way that I would be able to build a life that I truly wanted unless I was able to peel back all the layers of performance. And that required me to remove myself from that environment and actually just immerse myself in the environments that I wanted to be immersed in. For the past 2 years, that's exactly what I've been doing. I've been peeling back the layers of performance, the overachieving, the people pleaser. See, I didn't realize it at the time, but I had built this version of myself to fit the mold of other people's expectations. And I just wanted to peel it all back to see what was real underneath. So here's what I found. In high school, I was the one kid in the entire school that got selected to speak at a STEM conference for our school with the lieutenant governor of our state and I think it was the US Patent Office, like the head of the US Patent Office. I was in all the science clubs and math competitions and advanced calculus and in classes 2 years above my levels and all the APs. And the adults would always say, you're gonna do great things. And I believe them because why wouldn't I? Also, I wanted to do great things. But here's the thing about being in a condition like that is that your gifts or your intelligence or whatever, your advanced ability to learn and conform to the standards of other people also means that the validation, the reception that you get from them is conditional. And so your self-worth, your concept of self and the love that you receive from other people, the attention you receive from your caregivers or people around you, your teachers, whatever, they're based on your ability to perform. So even if you get good grades, it becomes a normal and it's not celebrated anymore. It's just expected of you. I remember the first time I got a B, and it was a B+, by the way. My mom yelled at me for a whole day straight, told me that I was a disgrace to the family, and then didn't talk to me for days. And bless her heart, I know she meant the best, but when you get a reaction like that to literally like a pretty good grade, you start to learn pretty fast that everything is about your ability to perform. That who you are doesn't really matter, and definitely does not matter more than your ability to produce. So you start to learn that keeping peace is showing people that you're good at something. When you get things right, you're safe. And if not, you're screwed. And the bar is always gonna move. And the feeling that you're chasing of finally being enough is just always gonna be a little bit out of reach. The game was never designed to let you win. And that sounds a little eerily familiar, doesn't it? We're playing a grown-up version of the same game. The same people getting pit against each other in certain scenarios, based off of their ability to follow a certain set of rules within a certain environment, and your ego becomes tied to your ability to perform and, I guess, play that part that was given to you. And if you're doing that a certain amount of hours every day, your identity starts to mold to that. Your feelings of self-worth start to mold to that. The promotion, the title, the salary bump, it's all dependent on your performance. And if you do perform well and you actually reach that milestone, well, the bar is always raised. And it's beautiful. Human nature is ever evolving and ever growing, but who gets to define what growth means? You were probably told that you're gonna be great your whole life. For me, I was told that in order to be great, you have to give up what you have now. That means the things that you love. And for me, that was things like martial arts, sports, music, art, dancing, singing. I couldn't do those things because I had to do what was right by the books. And the few things that I was allowed to do, like play piano, you know, it was only by the books and it was only a side quest. And if I ever really wanted to be a professional musician, I'd have to get used to having fun sleeping on the streets. That's like literally what my parents said. See, I didn't have a ton of unstructured time like a lot of my friends, and if I wasn't being productive, then I was wasting my potential. And so I would literally, and this is kind of funny considering, but I would hide in the closet and watch YouTube videos, and when my family was gone, I would borrow my grandpa's camera and I would go and make my own videos. I never post them because my parents would kill me, but I just, that's what I naturally wanted to do. I would sing, I would play Destiny's Child music videos, and I would learn the choreo by like mirroring the music videos. And I felt like those were the things that made me who I was and let me be the kid that I needed to be instead of doing things just for a resume. So I did what I needed to do. I graduated with an engineering degree, of course, and then I got a corporate job, senior consulting, 23 years old, 6 figures, 10-hour days, super fun. But you know what? Like, I was young and I had the energy and the ambition, and where else was I gonna put it? I wanted to build my own business, but I didn't really know in what, so to me, this was like the perfect opportunity because I would get to learn how to build a business without taking the financial risk, which I did not have at the time. I just reached a point where I was spending more time finally being able to, you know, with the free time that I did have, go to dance classes and go to music classes and go to jam sessions. And I just felt so alive those few hours a day or a week that I had to be able to do that. And then I would be sitting in front of my computer most of the rest of the time and just be like, is this it? Is this... I was doing the math in my head. Okay, I'm 25 now, you know, if I retire at 60, like maybe I can save up enough and do the FIRE movement and maybe make it 50. That's still 25 damn years. I can't do this. My youth, my cheeks are still high naturally. Like, I can't waste these years of my life while my cheeks are high sitting in front of a computer screen. That's not, no. All that pain, the sacrifice, the giving up taekwondo, giving up basketball, giving up the things that I loved doing as a kid, like to do activities that would look good on my resume, was that worth this? Was it worth getting here? Surely there's something more. Just, I reached a point. I think I was having a meeting with my manager and we were doing like the yearly reviews and we had to set goals for the next year, and he was asking me what my goals are, and I was just like, I'm not sure. And he was like, you don't want to get promoted or anything? I was like, let me just take a while to think about this. And I sat in front of the document and I was trying to type everything out, and I was just like, I can't fake it anymore. I can't bring myself to come up with goals for next year. I don't see myself working here anymore. I need to figure out something else, but I did not know what else was out there. So that's when I made a different type of plan, and I decided to save up 2+, give or take some extra years worth of living expenses so that I could just figure out who I was when I didn't have to worry about how I was gonna make money, or if I had to go to work the next day, or if I could get PTO so I could go travel. I was like, fuck it, like I'm gonna give myself the opportunity to buy my time back and see who I am and build something that like just works around who I am. So I just voluntarily decided to leave. I didn't have any backup plan. I didn't have any other job lined up. When they asked, they didn't get it. I said, I might go to grad school. I didn't really want to go to grad school. I like wanted to design my own curriculum. In a way, right now I'm in grad school, the school of life. But no, I was so done with the institutional validation. I had to learn to find the validation within myself. Like, I knew I couldn't figure out who I truly was when I was performing for everybody else. So at 25, I left and I decided to do that, and that was 2 years ago. So when I first left, I did this thing called the gut experiment. Because I had no idea what to do with myself, I figured, let me learn how to figure out what to do with myself. So when you're used to spending so much of your time performing, you have to take that performance away and focus on play. Because I feel like those two are two different sides of the same coin, where performance is focused on the validation. And the best performers know that they can incorporate play into it. But from a spiritual level, there's performance and there's play. Performance is based off of needing validation from an outside party, or the outer intentions, as some would call it. And then play is your inner intention. It's your inner intention to have fun. It's your inner intention to explore your curiosity. It's where the curiosity comes from. It's like a push, and the difference between pushing and pulling. I ran this little experiment where I flew to Portugal for, I think, 3 weeks I had planned to stay there, and I said, my intention is I'm not gonna make any plans and I'm just gonna follow my gut. So I ended up having some beautiful experiences there, met a ton of beautiful people, and then also had like a little fling. I met this girl that I really liked. I learned how to surf. Like, I just had so many weird synchronistic moments that kind of gave me the validation I needed that like, you're on the right path. And I kind of kept in line when I came back to take the mentality that I had while I was in Portugal and just apply it to the rest of my life. So that meant that if there's something that excites me in my life, I'm gonna go follow that. If that is as small as like learning a language, even though it doesn't make any sense to learn a language, I'm gonna go learn that language. So I like learned Spanish to a pretty decent level. Like, I was able to travel around multiple Spanish speaking countries by myself, getting around perfectly with like, people thought I was from those countries. So that was cool. I like always wanted to learn how to play guitar, so I decided to do that. I grew up playing piano and violin, so that did help, but it was just small things like that of like learning these different skills for no reason. I went to some random dance competition in Amsterdam just because I wanted to. Like, I'm not the best dancer. Most of the people there were people that have been dancing their whole lives, and besides my experience in the closet dancing, I only had like a year or two of dance experience prior to that, and I was just like, fuck it, like, I'm gonna go. And so I went and I had a ton of fun, and I tried like all these different things. Even I would try to build like small businesses and experiment with stuff as I was learning a skill, and it was just a lot of fun where I could just do things without worrying about what other people thought. And so here's the thing that I've learned from this experiment and taking it back into my life is like, if you don't have the means to just go quit your job right now or go fly to Portugal or some other country that you've been wanting to visit for a while, that you can do this gut feeling check with yourself every day. And it's literally just a practice. It's just a little ritual that you can do and use. You can literally take one day. If you can't get days off, take a weekend, take one day. Wake up, don't touch your phone. Don't look at a to-do list. Don't ask anybody what you should do. Don't answer any texts. Don't call anybody back. Don't tell anybody what you're doing. Leave all that shit behind and ask your gut, what do I really want to do now? Even if it sounds irrational or whatever, even if it's just you want to go to a movie and watch it by yourself, but you're scared of what other people might think if they see you in a theater by yourself, just do it. No matter how small, no matter how illogical, no matter how big, if you want to go drive to another state and have a little, go do that. Just follow it and see what happens. So my experience, you can't think your way into knowing yourself. You have to feel it. You have to develop your intuition. That's what your intuition is those inner feelings that guide you to where you are supposed to be as an individual based off of your knowledge, your wisdom, the experiences that you've had, what your body is telling you, because your body naturally has this innate intelligence about it based off of the accumulation of your subconscious and conscious knowledge and the interactions that you have with this greater field of knowledge with other people and their conscious and subconscious experiences that rub off on you. And intuition is like a muscle. It's always there, but if you ignore it and you don't grow it and you don't practice it, it doesn't get stronger. But the more that you can put your energy and attention towards listening to it, the stronger that muscle gets too. When I came back from Portugal, I tried to go back to work. I was on a leave of absence before I left. And that's when I went to Portugal, and it lasted 3 weeks. I could not do anything. I was thinking about everything else that I was so ready to do, because I feel like at that point the floodgates had already opened. That's when I decided to leave. That's when I started to learn Spanish. And then I went and I traveled, went back to Europe, went to Spain, Mexico, China. I learned guitar, copywriting, music production, all these other skills that I like, marketing. And I knew in my gut that there would be good skills to know for what I want to do. Maybe like 8 months into my journey, I started to like break out of that honeymoon phase, because people would ask me like what I was up to, and I don't think they fully understood what I was trying to do. And I just didn't know how to explain it to them, that I'm just like following my intuition and figuring out me. People would project their fears onto me. You're still unemployed? No. See, I'm not unemployed. I'm self-employed. I just don't have a payroll yet. Okay, what's your business? I don't know yet. See, I was so used to performing and getting validation for my performance that when those questions started to hit me, oh shit, did they sting, because I wasn't getting the same validation from the people that validated me that I once did. And that's where I kind of fell into this little pit of hopelessness. I had nothing that looked like success and nothing that looked like greatness. I just had a ton of fun experiences, and that was about it to account for it. A couple cool new tattoos. Like, man, that threw me into a spiral, an identity crisis. Like, I've read so many books trying to like find the answer in the books. I signed up for a hell of a lot of classes. I signed up for multiple music production classes. Signed up for freelancing classes, signed up for copywriting classes. There were just like so many different things, and I didn't know how to put them all together. I don't know. I think there was part of me that was trying to like manifest identities that weren't my own, but I also was naturally curious in a lot of those things, and I felt like even though I was in those classes and they were taking me one direction, that within them there were things I wanted to learn so I could use them in my own direction. I feel like over the period of me being able to build my gut instinct, I was able to really recognize that before it took me too deep into one pendulum or the other. Because here's the thing. When you don't have a purpose, a clear sense of purpose, or you don't know your purpose, it's so easy to get swung up into the pendulum of other people's purposes or other organizations' purposes. And then you get clung into, especially if you're in that performative mindset, you get clung to their definitions of success. And when you have like trauma or people-pleasing tendencies, that makes you even more vulnerable or susceptible to that. And so for me, like, I knew I was good, but I also just had these tendencies left over of like, I need to show other people that I'm good too. Because in my past, that was the only way that I knew how to act in order to receive love. I think in some ways I had left the job and the corporate job, but I was still performing. I was performing for my friends, for the old communities that I was still a part of, for people who knew me as one person with one identity and expected me to adhere to that image. But there were other parts of me that have grown since then that did not adhere to that performance. And there was this dissonance in me of like, why aren't people thinking I'm good? Or what is going on? Why am I not getting the validation that I need, even though I'm doing what feels right? And I think that was the hardest lesson that I've learned over the past, it's been 2 years now, is not, being dedicated or being disciplined or having self-control. It's being able to validate yourself when other people are not. It's to give yourself that love that your inner child was looking for when they put on this mask of performance. So yeah, 2 years later, post quitting my job, I've been through dozens of courses, hundreds of books, had so many different experiences, and I could not be more grateful for them. But I've been through a lot of failure too. And if you've ever learned a new language before, you know this type of failure. It's when you think you have a sentence right, or you're communicating something well, and someone's like, what are you saying? It's embarrassing. The same thing shows up when you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to start your own business and you have a hypothesis and you go and test it and it's crickets, or you post a video, crickets. And you have to do that over and over and over. And I think that's the hardest part about moving from being a person who thrives off of receiving validation to being a person who has to act from inner intention so viscerally that you don't know or care if you get validation or not. And even through applause, the applause doesn't matter either, because that just means you are validating other people for their own perceptions and their projections onto you. You have to cut it all. And so I've spent so much time in silence over the past 2 years. Lots of meditation and lots of silence. I used to always have something going on in the background. As a person who loves music, I had to cut that out. Because it's in the silence that you get to hear your own voice. And every time I felt myself grinding, pushing, white-knuckling shit, which I have been doing a lot recently because the pressure is I'm starting to feel the pressure in terms of I can't, just fuck around. Like, I have to be on top of my business now and start organizing that and getting that together, because it's near the end of the 2 years and I need to take things seriously now. But also at the same time, I hear that voice where it's like, maybe that's the voice that is steering me awry. You have to do this now. You don't have time to think about how you feel. Like, you just have to, I don't care how you feel, just go. That was the voice I internalized from my childhood. The one that just kept beating me up mentally, because I'm realizing at the end of this all, that voice is not anybody else now besides me. Especially because I've made the conscious decision to put myself in this position. There is nobody, I am my own boss. So that voice that is pushing me is my own voice. And so I'm the only one that can take accountability for it. And so what I've learned is that I have to manage my own feelings the way that I would manage other people. I have to be aware of what's happening and identify the different voices that are going on in my head and see where they're coming from. Who is saying that? Is that the manager in me? Is that the inner child in me? Is that my monkey brain? That's the biggest difference between push and pull, because push, that is the person who is acting out of survival. That is the person who is like, you have to do this now, and it's from a state of fear. Pull, for me, is pull of curiosity. It's a pull of my heartstrings. It's a pull of intention. It's a pull of those feelings that I do want to act from. And from the outside, from an outside perspective, both look the same, because, I could be in front of my computer for a very long time and people from the outside be like, you work too much. But the thing is, that could be me just like curious about solving a problem, or curious about writing an idea out, or getting an idea out, or filming a video, or editing, whatever, you know what I mean? But it also could be me acting out of fear, like, oh damn, if I don't work today, then that's a day wasted. And because that money is coming from my own bank account, that is painful and I feel the pain. So you have to identify the difference between the two. But that's where knowing where the inner intention comes from is like, you have to be able to ask yourself, what am I doing this for? And I will catch myself in moments where it's 2 a.m., I'm trying to solve a problem, and I will ask myself that, and it'll be just like, oh, if I don't solve this problem right now, everything is gonna burn. That's fear. That's push. But if I'm like, what am I doing this right now for? Just like, I'm having so much fun doing this. I don't care what time it is. I'm just gonna do it. That's pull. Once you understand all of this, then you can go back to the, am I deeply ambitious or am I traumatized question? And there's your answer. Is it the push or the pole. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what happened in the past to you. It's good to identify where that comes from, where those voices come from, so that you can deal with them better. But at the end of the day, the voices are still there. The fear is still always going to be there, no matter what has happened in the past. It's an inevitable part of being human. It's a part of having emotions, is you are going to have fear, but it's what do you do with that? You're going to have desire, but what do you do with all of that? You cannot change the past, and you can't sit and analyze your childhood forever. I think it's important to have periods of reflection and be able to have that emotional awareness. But once you have awareness, analyzing over and over does not help. It becomes rumination, it becomes overthinking. And how you move trauma through your body is to actually move it through your body. It's to go and act and show your nervous system that you're safe. So this can start with things like stretching, working out, yoga, like actually feeling into the parts of your body that store that trauma. But it can also look like you taking the actions that contradict your limiting beliefs to show your nervous system that it is safe and possible for you to do the things that you are scared of doing. Because that is the only way that you are going to level up in life, that you're going to grow in the directions that you want to, is to sit through those uncomfortable feelings, understand them, acknowledge them, and then alchemize them into something different. They're going to be there no matter what. It's whether or not you listen to them and get sucked into them, or if you listen to them and say, I don't want to identify with this anymore. Let me do what I need to do to show my body that these are not things that I carry with my identity. That's it. Stop questioning why you're like the way you are and just start asking yourself, what do you do with that? Now what? Now what? You can't change the past. All you can do is write the future. Live in the present to write the future. And this is all kind of like an art. See, when you are so yourself and you act so in alignment with yourself, everything you create as a result of that alignment and that authenticity is art. It could be a business, it could be music, it could be literal art, it could be you playing a sport or dancing. Like, you acting in alignment is you moving that out of your body. And if it consumes you, so be it. You know how beautiful passion is in life? Do you know how beautiful it is to have a thing that drives you in a world where so many people lack understanding of themselves? Let it rule your life. If you love it, you love it. Other people might not get it, but that is okay because they are not you and they're not put on this earth to do the same things you were. Ambition is not the problem. Don't let people allow you to think that way or persuade you to think that way. Ambition is beautiful if it's coming from the right place. So what really matters is, what place is it coming from? You can build a life from a place of punishment, or you can build the life you want from a place of desire, and that is your choice now that you have this level of awareness. If you're at the beginning or the middle of your journey and you're asking yourself these questions, if anything in this video resonated with you, I made something for you. It's a self-discovery prompt, and it's just designed to poke at you a little bit and to help you hear the voice beneath all the noise. Link in the description. Until next time.